Sure. Starting the event. Event is started.
And we are live. Yes, live.
Hello. Hello, live.
Yes, we are live from a bunker deep underneath Navis game, talking about construction and how to improve the city. I mean, world. Yeah, something like that.
All things building.
Yay.
That should be a yay, Mike.
Yay.
Yay!
I was just pouring my whiskey. I couldn't be too enthusiastic.
So today's
non-cheap stuff.
today's special guests are Zeebark and MP Logue.
I wouldn't know about special, but I guess
Oh, you're
yes.
special.
Well, I mean, if you ride the short bus, you're still considered special.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, my name's Mike. You can call me Michael. Whatever.
My name's Mike. You can call me. Sorry.
My name's Richard. You can call me Dick.
Most people just call me Z.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Indeedio.
How's that go at work?
How
Hmm?
does what work?
How does that go at work?
Sorry.
Quite unusual actually, because if anybody actually called me Z in work, I'd be very surprised. So
Has anyone just tried
I've
Yeah,
had
it's-
people. do that.
instead of using any kind of name, they've just went ruff, 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 ruff.
it's usually oi bitch. So I tend to answer that.
I thought that was just your brother.
It's actually spread. Don't forget, somebody actually called me challenging in work the other day. So
In a good way.
in a good way.
Well, if we want to
So-
get started on the questions that we've got,
Yeah.
we do actually have a couple of them.
Okay.
We have one from somebody, Spiked Coffee, but they're not here, so I might hold off on theirs for a little bit, if only because they may join later. We don't know.
I did make it clear questions have to be done in Pig Latin.
Good. No,
Yes.
answers have to be done in Pig Latin.
Ah.
Well, I only know Turkish Pig Latin, so you probably guys wouldn't understand it. So
Mhm.
I'll stick to English.
Okay. Well, basic questions would be, a lot of us build POIs and whatnot. Presumably, I know you guys both use the prefab editor and make them and whatnot. But where do you get your inspiration from when you are thinking about a new build?
Do you want to go first, Mike?
Sure. So I kind of tend to do kind of more esoteric stuff, I guess. So a lot of my stuff is either influenced by like movie stuff. I got a bunch of movie type POIs. And I also kind of like to do kind of more kind of fantasy sci-fi stuff that doesn't necessarily blend in completely with the game, but I try to make them so they don't, do the what's the horrible phrase everybody uses, immersion breaking.
Yeah.
we hear that all the time as POI builders.
All the
Is,
time,
oh, this
yeah.
is immersion breaking,
Making
immersion
my
breaking.
immersion.
Yeah, which I get. There are certain styles of POIs that I kind of have that same kind of knee-jerk reaction. So when I do my stuff, I try to make it somewhat blend in, but some of them are just so out there you just can't really do it. But as far as inspiration, aside from kind of pop culture type sort of stuff, I get on Pinterest and I'm kind of into architecture. I've always kind of been into architecture, so I like cool buildings, especially kind of the mid-century modern, kind of funky sort of stuff that you don't normally see every day. So I just have a clipboard in Pinterest where I just have all these different buildings that I've kind of saved as inspiration. I've used quite a few of them. A lot of the mid-century modern POIs that I've done have in one way or another been based off of a photograph I found online. So that's kind of my inspiration. A lot of times also because I do a lot of experimentation. People kind of know me as trying to find evil ways to kill people.
Uh,
And I also try to find ways to use the blocks that already exist in different ways. Because as you know, you're all very limited as far as our paint palettes and whatnot. And I try to find ways to break that up by using objects that you wouldn't normally use, you know, like the back sides of a vending machine or the bottom sides of an oven, and using those as part of my structure. Um, and in these experimentations, those kind of also help build that inspiration to make a POI. So a lot of times I'll do a POI that's totally based off of one of my experiments, just because I wanted to try it out somehow. Not all of them actually make the cut. You know, I've got tons of experimental POIs that are in my folders that I've never actually gone any farther on. But I try to kind of keep in mind all these little tricks that I've come up with and find some way to integrate them into whatever POIs I'm building.
Excellent.
That's me.
So, what kind of movie POIs do you have? You know, everybody might not be familiar with your work.
Okay.
So what are some of your POIs that you've made, or maybe the more popular or less popular ones that people may or may not recognize?
The very first POI I tried building, which was I took too big of a step and kind of got out of my comfort zone, was I don't know if you're familiar with the movie based off of a book, Name of the Rose. It's a kind of a medieval period piece with Sean Connery as a Franciscan monk and Christian Slater as his acolyte. And they go to this abbey out in the middle of nowhere. And the main focus of the kind of the whole movie is the library, which is it's a huge kind of citadel type structure. And on the inside, you have all this labyrinth of passageways and stairs and balconies and whatnot. And this is where all of the books were being hidden. And I always thought that would make a great POI. So stupidly, that was the first one I tried to build. And it almost took me about a year because I worked on it for a while and then sort of gave up for a while and didn't even go back to the game for a while, and then came back and started polishing up. And I ended up making it the entire abbey, which included, you know, the chapel and the clerestory, not the clerestories, the cloisters, and all the monk type sort of stuff that you would find in an abbey. So that was my first one that was kind of based off of a movie. Obviously, I did a lot of kind of my own artistic interpretation of what might be there because you never see everything. I also did the Petra Temple from the
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, yes, Indiana Jones. So you have the leap of faith area, and
yeah, which I tested, and thank you, Mike.
I've done the Skywalker homestead. What else have I got that's movie related?
So basically, everything you do is go big or go home.
Sort of, kinda. I've kind of had to learn. I have big ideas, and a lot of times I really want to do them, but I just don't have the gumption to try to spend so much time now that I know how much work is involved. I've always wanted to do the stacks from Ready Player One. But as I start playing around with it, it's going to require like a lot of custom blocks, and it's just sort of one of those things. It's like I'd love to do it, but oh my god, it's going to be a lot of work, sort of thing. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any other movie related ones that I've done here.
Well, wasn't your Borg trader?
Well, sort of, kind of, yeah.
Star Trek themed.
I have the Borg trader that kind of looks like a Borg ship. A lot of other stuff I've done that are based off of kind of monuments, so you can kind of think of the Petra Temple as kind of a monument. I've also done a the Fangjing Mountain Temple, which is in China. It was basically a temple that's on top of a very tall mountain. I made that into like a multi-trader POI. I've done the obelisk from Space Odyssey 2000, the moon obelisk. I think
That
that's
was one of your first ones, wasn't it?
That was one of my first
Yeah.
ones too. Yeah,
That was
one
one of the
early
first ones we've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I finished it before I went back and finished the Rose Abbey.
Plus, there's a lot of the fun ones that like the dirigible.
Mm-hmm.
They're great fun.
Again, that was one that was more kind of motivated by my experimentations. When I first started doing a lot of playing around, it was with the terrain blocks, and just kind of playing with different things you can do. And one thing I discovered is you can make the terrain blocks invisible by changing their density, and the zombies wouldn't attack them or know that they were there, and you could use them as structural support for something floating in the air. And that's, again, one of those things where my experimentations kind of led to the inspiration of doing the dirigible.
Well, what about you, Z? Same question. What's your inspirations and whatnot?
Nothing like Mike. I'm literally. It's what do we need? I'll make it. Oh, look, there's a temple. Let's see if I can build that. No, I like history.
Mm-hmm.
So I've watched. I don't watch that much TV, to be honest, but I like Egyptology, all that kind of stuff. And I've seen Temple of the Warriors. Actually heard it. I wasn't looking at the TV. I just heard them say Temple of the Warriors. I was like, oh, what's that? And obviously it's in ruins, but I was like, oh, okay, I'll build that. Yeah, that took forever. Inspiration is I might see a building and think, oh, that's nice. I can build something like that. But yeah, it's literally just what do we need? I'll build it.
You're really good
Yeah.
at that, yeah.
Everything's built on the fly with me. There's no drawing. There's nothing. It's just I'll build it. See how it
Now,
turns
Mike,
out.
do you bring out your drafting table to, like, sketch out what you're going to do before you do it? Because Z doesn't. She just does it on the fly.
Yeah, like I said, I've always been interested in architecture, and I kind of dabbled with it. I still kind of dabble with it a little bit just as a hobby. I don't necessarily sketch anything out physically, but it's always kind of going on in my mind on kind of how I want things to sort of come up. But usually I'll just start off on one area. Again, it may be just totally based off of one of the tricks that I had come up with, and I throw together kind of a test scene or whatever to see if it actually works. And then I'll just start throwing things in there and knocking out walls and digging underground. And I do kind of start off with an idea, but a lot of it, because like I said, I look at the Pinterest stuff and you get these photographs and you don't see the whole thing. You just kind of see that design element that kind of attracted you. So at least I do, I'll kind of try to replicate that, but then I got to figure out what else goes with that particular building or POI. So that's kind of where that free flowing, okay, I'll just throw up a wall here, see how that looks. Okay, I need a bathroom. I need to find space for that. Where's the laundry going to
Hate
go?
it when you forget about the bathroom.
Yeah, you got to have the bathroom.
I've built whole POIs and gone, damn.
That's when you just put a porta potty out on the sidewalk out front.
Yeah. Thank God for the porta potties, yes.
I have flashbacks of some POIs I made called the No Peas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was in our Fab Off, the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep, don't come here. Don't come here. There's no place to go pee. Nope. Go out back.
Always a tree.
I mean,
So-
once I'm building something, usually I won't Google. I'll just do it. But Temple of the Warriors, I did Google because there's nothing about the inside of Temple of the Warriors. So obviously that was all artistic license, whatever you want to call it. When you're standing in this massive empty building and you're like, okay, I've done that. What am I going to do now? And Damocles, which is I've built for CP49, is huge, and that took a lot of work. That's based on Knights Templar.
Here, finish
And
the stallion. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
5 minutes later. I need it back. I forgot something.
yeah, that's me. But yeah, I did look at a lot of Knights Templar. Oh, sorry, Scouse accent. Templar stuff, but still just did it the way I wanted it done. There's no mod cons in Damocles. I've tried to keep it as original as possible to the times. I mean, you've got to put the odd thing in. They're going to have a cup of coffee before they die. So yeah, that's the way I build. Takes
So
a
you
long
meant
time. It's a lot of work.
so you bring up history in Knights Templar. We had Friday the 13th. Not too long ago in October, which is the whole thing around the Knights Templar and why Friday the 13th exists.
Mm. Well, I've actually also put a little surprise in the loot room as well for Knights Templar. You know what it is, don't you, Mike?
She always has surprises.
Oh yeah.
What my Z prizes?
Uh-huh.
My Z prizes, which might be because you'll get people who do the POI and they'll go, "Oh, that didn't happen with Knights Templar." I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a game.
It's a game.
Get
There
over
weren't
it.
zombies there either.
Yeah, there weren't zombies there yet, so just get over it. But yeah, it's just a little spicing it up.
Yeah, I'll sometimes do research again, like if it's like a pop culture or a movie based POI, I will do some research to try to make it as somewhat accurate as possible. With the Skywalker homestead, I tried to find any kind of photographs that were from the movie sets or from wherever they filmed it. Same thing with the Petra Temple. I went ahead and watched that video a couple times to try to pick up certain things.
Can I hold you right there? Naz is saying he thinks we're missing some audio, and that might be the case. Naz, I hope you're recording, because I don't know what's going on. My audio is not going off. I am streaming, so this is a little bit weird. So I want to pause for a minute and find out what the heck is going on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Try to turn it on and off again.
Audio mixer. Yeah, it's not like picking up my mic. So there's that.
I'm going to check I'm picking up audio because that would be tragic if it.
No, but
Naz might have to upload his version here. We go to. Where
I got he's turned off though.
that from a bunker deep underneath Navis game. Talking output.
I'm picking up audio.
Yep. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Naz, did you get me at all in audio? Because my audio apparently was not going.
Yeah, I got everyone's audio.
Okay, you might have to do a little splicing. Because now my audio is back. I don't know what happened, but it looks like a setting got messed up where it did not have my mic and desktop audio set. So Naz might have to work his magic next week. Okay, so we can we can pick back up where we were. My train got derailed with the technical issue, but if you guys remember where we were,
Movies one. The only
Let's
one
see,
I've done out
yep.
of a movie was
okay. Naz, did you get me at all
the Green
in
Mile.
audio?
What did they call it?
'Cause
Mile
my audio
Ends
apparently
Prison.
was not going.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Yeah, I
only,
got everyone's audio.
as far as I can remember, movie one I've done. And oh my god, I looked at every corner of that place. That was literally because Green Mile is one of my favourite movies, and I always cry at the end when the mouse dies.
It was a very good book.
Spoilers.
I got my mom got me the book series for Christmas when I was in high school one year, so I read it on the bus, coming home.
Mm.
So that was a very good book series. I think they did pretty good with the movie because sometimes the books don't always transfer well to the movies.
They don't at all, no. But best actors ever as well. But yeah, I was just watching the Green Mile and I thought, oh, I'll build that. So I built it, and I think it turned out okay. A little tier 2, so that's the only one I've done out of a movie.
So, what do you guys only use the in-game editor
Yeah.
for your building?
Hmm.
Yeah, no, when I was doing more stuff, again, I was kind of in an early stage where I was playing around with terrain a lot.
Mhm.
I used, was it KingGen? To do, so I could use height maps so I can make some terrain type POIs. So like the crescent moon valley for the Petra Temple, I used KingGen for that. I also used it initially for the Trader Temple Mountain. So I have used other things, but nowadays it's just basically just the prefab editor, and I've kind of more been branching off into a lot of custom blocks. I never really did anything
you-
before Alpha
Did you maze
21.
too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I did the maze too. Yeah, that was another one that was done with the KingGen. Is it the KingGen? What was the other mapping tool? that was
Nitrogen.
that? Yeah, it must have been KingGen, I think, 'cause I don't really think
Yeah,
I
nitrogen.
played around with nitrogen all that much. Yeah, but besides that, it's just mostly just been the prefab editor and a notepad, Notepad plus for doing custom blocks. I have done only for a couple of POIs. I started playing around with Unity so I can make my own real custom block. So the only thing I've done so far is a volume fog block, which I think adds a really nice atmosphere to POIs. I wish they had that in vanilla.
Yeah, that's excellent.
But aside from that, that's the only thing I've done in Unity. It's outside of the prefab editor.
Yeah, I know when I go to do something, Pillay has a POI builder that for stuff I like to do big things. I like to do it in that first before importing it into the game because it takes a lot of the time consuming out of it from like building each level because his does is it kind of like a 3D. And if I wanted to build a building or structure that's say 10 blocks tall, it's a lot easier. I can just drag and then, I select the block, I just drag and boom, and then I can just copy layers. And then I get my 10, and then, like placing furniture and doors and stuff like that, it's easier to do in the editor or in game.
Mm-hmm.
But just the basic outline of the structure, like I have a couple of keeps from older alphas that I put like a 5 block wide moat all the way around the keep and then build it up, put the crenulations on top, all in that, and then bring it in the game and then add the doors, and drawbridge, and the other stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
been
they
compatible
did
for a
build.
while.
Yeah, Billy's editor's dead. I mean, still you can still see things, but yeah, I wouldn't do anything in it.
Well, he hasn't updated it yet because he's spending all his time on Terragon, but says he does have plans to update it.
Oh, definitely, yeah, but at the moment it's not.
Yeah. Right now it's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, once you start doing a lot of prefabbing and whatnot, you kind of pick up your own little tricks on kind of making things a little bit easier and faster to do things. Like when I'm starting off on something, I just won't build a wall. I'll just build a giant cube and
Yes,
then
I do.
reduce the size and eliminate everything. So it's you get these kind of little kind of shortcuts that you kind of pick up on, and it everybody has their own method of doing things, and yeah, there's ways of making things a little bit easier. I do wish they would spend a little bit more time on the development of the prefab editor, because there's still a few things in there that are kind of buggy and whatnot. It's always an experimental version, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, it can be a lost. And I was working on Damocles. I was putting a part of the roof in, and I obviously misclicked with the Z and did what I needed to do. Yeah, it's all right laughing. This is one time the only time I think I actually rage quit and said I am never building another POI again, ever.
It rotated it.
No. Damocles goes down to as far as you can go. Okay. And I'd misclicked with the Z, and whatever it did, don't even ask me what it did, but I just pressed delete because I was like, oh, put the wrong blocks in there. And when I saved it, and when I went into my POI, what I'd done is I deleted the whole interior of my POI right down to everything was gone. All the work I'd done. And you just stand there and you look at something and you go, what the
Yeah.
It's a wonder people didn't hear me screaming, honestly. So I was just didn't know. Anyway, Stallion saved the day. Thank you, Stallion. And just want to add to that, just before I went in, because I was raising the outside of it up, a little voice in my head said, make a copy. Just copy what you've done. So I just copied it and threw it in another folder. And it was that copy that actually saved the day. That copy that saved Damocles. So do listen to the little voices in your head at times. Because
unless they're talking about blood and stuff like that.
Yeah,
not
but
like
listen to
that.
those.
The police is
that
involved.
happens in the other ear. Yeah. Not going that way, but down that way again. But yeah, that was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I think we've all encountered that where you do something and hours and hours and hours of work are just totally gone, and you're like, oh, fuck me.
Strip all textures. That got me once.
Oh, your strip.
Yeah.
Strip
and then
texture.
save.
Oh yeah.
Rather than strip internal textures, it stripped all textures, and then I'm like, okay, and save, and no.
Yeah.
You just can't, but you can't get out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those.
The other one
Okay.
There's one of those things where I've done a bunch of like database development type sort of stuff where you're doing some coding and stuff like that, and you get into a pattern of doing certain things, like when you're saving. So you do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. That's one of those things you really don't want to build into your muscle memory with this game, because if you get into like, okay, I'm going to update the imposter and strip internal textures, and you do all the things all the time, and then when it's going to bite you in the ass because you shit, oh, I didn't even know I did that, and everything is gone now.
That's what I did. Just saved it automatically.
Yeah.
Walked inside, and it was like, oh no. But yeah, I almost gave up prefabbing.
The other one is when you do the update imposter, then save it before it finishes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I do stuff both at home and don't tell my bosses, but I also do some stuff at work. So I will use my own Discord channel to upload the POIs as I do progress on them. So it's kind of a nice little backup system that I've got. So if I screw up in one location, I have at least not destroyed the entire thing. I've got several backups, even going back as far as I've started the thing. So having some sort of system to back things up is always a nice little benefit to have.
GitHub's good for that too. Like you put it to GitHub, and then it'll always make a once you upload new ones, it'll put your old one to a what should we call it?
Yeah, I think with GitHub, don't you have to
Like a
remember to like push it or something?
There's a program there that I use. Some people use code and all the bloody fancy gadget stuff.
So now, do you guys just build for 7 days, or do you find, other things to build for? Like, are there other games that you make POIs for? Is there stuff that you just make? Like, I just want to build this, but I really don't want to put it in 7 days, and just build it for yourself in other software or anything?
No, I just build for 7 days. Too
Yeah,
lazy.
I'm the same. Yeah. Although I've always been kind of obsessing over like these indoor golf simulators.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really love to have one. And I'm thinking, well, these golf courses are boring. And it's basically the same kind of thing. They have their own kind of prefab editors to build golf courses, and obviously that there's different things you got to do, but it's like that might be fun just doing, I'm not going to do the links in Scotland, but I might do something where you've got these floating islands that you have to hit the ball from one to the other kind of thing. It's like, I haven't seen that. So I've sort of thought about that. I don't have an indoor golf simulator, so I have no way to test the damn things, but I thought it would be something that would be kind of a hobby as I reach my retirement.
Are you
There's
into
no landmines in the game.
And landmines in the golf courses, yes.
Yeah. I'm going a little off topic, as I do. Do either of you play any like tabletop RPGs, or just stick to the video games?
In my very, very younger days, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons, but that
I've
was
never
like
played Dungeons and Dragons.
that was in the 80s.
Back when it was still good, I understand.
Yeah. I think I probably still have my original Gary Gygax books and whatnot.
Same.
Yeah,
But no, I don't
All
play.
of the original second edition books.
yes, I still have my second edition stuff too. That's the edition I started with. But the reason I bring that up is there's a software that is called RPG Stories, and right now they're working on the multiplayer functionality, and eventually they're going to bring in the virtual tabletop portion to it. But basically, right now it's just a world builder, and there's like 3,000 assets in there, and they have it completely commercial free if you want to decide to make maps and sell them, or buildings or whatever. It's something, that if you get the itch and you want to grow outside of 7 days, you can look at that. And, there's people have been building lots of stuff since early access. And I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff comes out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've kind of thought about, kind of branching out, but the one thing that I really like about 7 days is the whole voxel thing where, if you're looking at some of these other games where all the buildings are built in a 3D editor and then imported as a whole, it's not like you can like build a like a 3x3 wall or a floor or section. You can bring in sections like that, but it's not as detailed as you can as far as a builder that you can do in 7 days. There may be some out there that I'm not aware of, but there's the ones that I've seen, like Fallout. I mean, you can build a house, but it's all these big gigantic sections, and you can't really kind of do the little intricate type, curly Q type fancy stuff that you can do in 7 days. We always complain about there's not enough blocks, but when you really look at it in comparison to other games, there's way more blocks than any other game has.
There's a lot of blocks.
Yeah,
There's a lot of blocks now. Yeah, a lot of
and
blocks.
and if you want to break out of just doing vanilla stuff and start fiddling around with doing custom blocks, just doing a simple offset on a vanilla block can change the entire feel of a room or something like that. So if you really want to and start tinking around with the XML and seeing what you can do with what already is there, there's a lot you can do with it.
Especially that property that lets you that it will drop the item to whatever level the block
Oh,
below it is
absolutely,
at.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that one. I
Yeah,
ran
yeah.
across that. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Doesn't work always, but it's pretty cool.
The one, what I would call a mod that I've done was my Fallen Trees mod. And basically I use that on the, the existing vanilla tree blocks or the assets, and added that, that XML code on there, as well as doing advanced rotation. And yeah, that you can do all kinds of cool stuff where, I've got, a lot of my POIs now have trees that are fallen on a slant, resting on the roof of the building. You don't see that in other POIs.
It is, yeah, that mod, I've seen it. It looks amazing. It really adds a whole nother level to the environment.
Yeah, I've been playing around with it. They've really nerfed the whole environmental biomes XML. You've probably noticed that, when you go out into the forest and whatnot, there's significantly far fewer trees in there now. And I think it's somehow hard coded in there, because I've been playing around to try to upgrade the Fallen Tree mod to Alpha 21. And I just can't get the same numbers. I mean, I can get a few fallen trees here and there, but it's not the same as what it was before.
So, Mike, if I can ask, you were complaining the other day that there's too many textures.
Too many textures? I don't think I've ever said that.
Never.
Oh, the one thing that you dream of.
More textures.
Better textures.
More textures.
More
Yeah.
textures.
He's got enough.
Horrendous.
Same ones over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just working on the POI I've just been working on, if that makes any sense. And I'm doing 6 floors. 6 floors with no stallion.
Yeah, I'm not giving you any more.
I'm not taking any more.
Good.
No chance. And I'm really, really struggling with trying to not paint everything wood. It's just horrendous. That's why it takes so long sometimes, because you're literally wondering, colour can I paint it?
Yeah.
So not everything, because I can't stand anything, even 2 rooms being the same. I've always got to make them different. Copy and paste shouldn't be allowed. But yeah, please, textures. Probably never gonna happen.
And then to add insult to injury, when they do like a new alpha, they'll change some of the paint.
Yeah.
Like I kind of do these floor decorations. That's kind of one of my signature things, where I do these really groovy floors. And I love the black kind of more business type carpet textures, because they have a really nice contrast. They were nice and clean. And then when Alpha 21 came out, they were all just this ugly gray, and everything that I had done prior just looked like shit.
Or the redwood floor texture. They used to be so awesome, and now it's just gone.
Yeah.
The carpets, everything, they're horrendous.
Yeah.
And why did they change black granite to grey?
I'm sorry, black what?
Oh,
granite?
Yeah, I always get this. Okay. They always take the wick out of me for the way I pronounce it. But it's grey now. It was black. Why didn't you leave it black?
It was such a nice black with a great texture to it. Now it's just like flat grey.
Oh,
like
horrible. Horrible. So I actually went round and removed it. And not all of them, obviously, but a lot of the POIs where it was the decent one, I've removed it. Horrible. It's just a horrible colour. It's got no contrast to it at all.
So this question is for both of you. What mistakes?
Oh, you talk to us every day. You know what we know.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Just to let you guys know, I'm one of the CP testers, so I get to test these wonderful creations before they're released to the public, and the testing process can be exhaustive. especially with the tier 5s, tier 6s, and tier 7s these two come out with. They take a long time to test. That one, but Zeebark, that Damocles I tested for you the other. How long did that take? Like 4 hours or so?
Oh, just the testing it, mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that took forever to test. But my question is,
took seconds to destroy though.
What?
Took seconds for you to destroy though.
I've never destroyed a POI in my life. What mistakes have you made apart from you mentioning what you did with that deleting half your PI? What have you done that you've gone to? So that's it. Done.
That was it for me. But there's been happy mistakes.
Happy little accidents.
Happy accidents, yes. I've done stuff where I've gone, no, oh, hang on. So, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that actually looks better.
Just to let everybody who's hearing know that these guys have actually done POIs that you haven't seen yet. And they are like two of my favorite ones. These are of Mike's. The Stepwell, which is vastly underrated. I really like that one. And what was it called, Mike, with the water, the arches and the water with all the posts inside?
Oh, the Basilica Cistern.
The Basilica. You've got to see this stuff. And the stuff that Zeebark's got to come out now, it will be released in CPE 49. It is just wow.
Yeah, but CP49 for me is the ones and twos, tier 1s, tier 2s. I've got Damocles, which is the 7. That's the biggest one. I've done a tier 5, which is a murder house. But mostly it was stuff that we needed.
What happens there?
Murder. You know, Mike, my job is to kill the player. So.
Yes. That should be all of our jobs.
It should be all of our jobs.
So
yeah, mine are mostly lower tier.
I was testing Zeebark's Halloween house the other day, and I don't know how you're meant to survive that. That is just not right. That is just.
You're not meant to survive it. That's the point.
It's unfair.
Yeah, the very
Alpha 19.
The very first time I actually met.
Back up POI with where he has to jump. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, the very first POI that I did that I actually met Battle Poppy was my Rose Abbey, and he was testing it for CP at the time, and he said, "Can I go on voice with you?" And I'd never done voice, and I had no idea what the hell that even was. So I was like, "Okay, I'm there," and I started chatting with him, and he says, "How do you go through this?" Because it's like, it's a labyrinth. It's like, I have no freaking idea. I never actually made it with a path.
That was that upper level on that with all those ladders going up to the towers, Mike. Yeah, that was. You're not right in the head, mate. Honestly, there's something wrong with you.
He's just evil.
He is.
I'm
honestly.
not evil.
You are evil. You have evil thoughts.
He's Locutus of Borg. That's what he is.
But kind of since I sort of reminded we talk about paths. Obviously, everybody that's familiar with the vanilla ones, they all kind of have a path. They have the dungeon style, I guess they call it, where you kind of have these pointers on where to go next, sort of thing. And as a POI builder, that's kind of one of those things where you sort of have that internal debate with yourself: is in real world, are you going to have flashlights pointing to where you're supposed to go and what area you're supposed to clear? Or are you going to build this as if it was in real world, where if you're doing a clear, you literally have to go through the whole place to try to find all the zombies without all these little hints? Now, as a player, even though I don't really play it much anymore because I enjoy building stuff so much, I do appreciate the dungeon style, because I kind of want to get things done and get it over with. But the other side of me that builds stuff is like, I'm not going to tell you how to do this thing. You got to figure it out yourself. So I think
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
There's a lot of the custom POI builders that kind of feel that way. I've never done a poll, and I don't know if there's been a poll that's been done, but a lot of the custom built POIs tend to not be dungeon style. I have done a few, simply because they are kind of, convoluted in order to get through them. So I do give a little hints, but I still don't make it just totally idiot proof where you got to follow the red line to get all the way through. There may be some alternate paths in some areas that are totally hidden that there's no idea that it's there. That a lot of us like these little Easter eggs where you've got a hidden chest or something like that tucked away, and you'll never find it unless you like destroy the entire POI. But yeah, that's kind of one of those decisions you have to make as a prefabber. If you really kind of want to do this for others to play, is do you want to do it dungeon style, or do you want to kind of do it a free for all? And I think it is easier to do the free for all because you don't really have to think too much about doing those paths. But there is kind of that benefit if you want people to enjoy the POI, and that's kind of the goal of everybody. We don't want people to say, I never want to go through this POI again. To make it fun enough for them to want to come back.
I think you have to find a balance with it.
Yeah.
Because with the big, I've done some of the big POIs we did. What was the one we did in the Rumble? And we were on there for about 29 hours just trying to find our way around the first floor. They should be dungeon style. That one should have been dungeon style because that was just ridiculous, the amount of time we spent on that. So I do think on the big POIs, it shouldn't be a complete dungeon style, but there should be better indicators of which way to go.
Yeah.
The smaller ones, it's neither here nor there with them. But you've got to find that balance between in a real life situation, you would walk into this POI and it's up to you whether you go left or right. There won't be a torch there going, "Oh, mate, go right and take the stairs up to the second floor." It's not going to happen. So I do agree with you. But
and on some of the larger ones, I've even considered making some of my larger ones fetch only with no clears, simply because, especially like the Rose Abbey, because the labyrinth it's complicated, and I don't even know how to get through the damn thing. So trying to clear that place, I sure as hell wouldn't want to do that. And if I got that as a quest, I'd be pissed off if I couldn't get everybody. So, those larger quests, you might just want to make them a fetch quest.
Oh, I would say it's risk reward. If you're gonna one clear and maybe add a fetch or either or, the prize has to be worth it. So if you're not going to give them the go this way, go this way, go this way, it's not choose your own adventure. It's just follow the path.
Right.
If I want to follow a path, I'll take a tour. So if you're not going to do the aids of you should go this way, then if they can get through it, then they get a big ass reward at the end.
Right. Yeah.
And I think sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that the rewards are really important. I think what's also important in the bigger POIs is cooldown areas. I'll always put a cooldown area, just a chance to reload and heal up and look through your inventory. I don't need this, but I'll keep that, and whatever it might be, even if it's just a corridor. I think that's really important to actually build in to a large POI as well.
Yeah,
for sure. Pacing.
100% agree. Yeah, pacing is really important. There are POIs that are, it may be a low tier, a high tier, but you get all the zombies all at once. To me, that's not fun.
It's interesting.
it can be
Well, not-
interesting, but it's like, you know, it's just a bullet sponge shit fest kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I want to, you know, I'm a stealth player myself. I enjoy stealth playing, and I understand that not every POI is going to be stealthable. But if I walk into a POI and all of a sudden I've got, you know, 50 zombies coming at me at once, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm probably not going to come back and play that POI again.
And it's finding
So
that balance.
yeah, you got to find that balance, and again, yeah, we like building these things, but we also are kind of narcissistic. We want to actually see people actually go through them and see how well we do.
I think that's one thing. Sorry, Mike.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's one thing about if you get one of the content creators playing your POIs,
Mm-hmm.
you'll go back and watch it again and again and again. Like, right, I need to change this. And it's not a, ooh, they do my POI. It's literally a, where does it go wrong? I can go back and fix it so that doesn't happen again. So, but on the other hand, it does give away all the secrets.
Well, what about leaving clues? You know, because you can put like the documents in there that they can read.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's always an option too. Is like, okay, well, I'm going to have this POI. I'm not really going to tell you where to go, but I can leave little clues around when you find certain things. So that might be a way too. Maybe like a little riddle or something.
Yeah, I haven't played with like I know you can kind of, you know, since I've started doing the more modding side of it as opposed to just prefabbing, I've kind of explored digging more into that. But I haven't really done that yet. I mean, we try to. I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else, but I try to make things obvious. But you can be amazed on what some players will do with your POIs. Is like, why the fuck would they do that? And it happens all the time. It's like, I would have never thought of even going that way, but okay, maybe I should rethink on something to either prevent that or, you know, encourage it because I thought it was cool.
Right.
Having that kind of feedback, because you know we all talk amongst ourselves and we have each other test each other's stuff out, but we kind of know everybody's tricks, and we don't have that kind of virgin player type feedback that we would do with other players, and the only way we kind of really get it is from the big kind of, you know, YouTubers, and they're not necessarily the most virgin players out there. They're fairly experienced and they know this game back and forth. But kind of having that feedback is really important for us, because otherwise, I know my style, I know Zeebark style, I know Battle Poppy style, which really isn't a style, but but we kind of know each other, and we kind of, you know, when we go to Zeebark's POI and we're testing out the first time, it's like, okay, where are the vultures? Where are the dogs? We always know.
And all you hear from me is, don't shoot the walls.
Exactly. And I'm shooting every single wall because I know she's got hidden. So we all kind of know each other's style. But that doesn't really help us improve, because we know each other's tricks. And we need to see how we're doing. We need fresh blood.
So what you're saying is you need to recruit players to test out your POIs.
Exactly, yeah.
But the thing is, for me, it comes both sides. You need virgin players who aren't as high end as some of the content creators to get feedback from. But you also, and it would be great to have the higher end content creators give you feedback from their perspective as well, so you could kind of meet in the middle. It's not a case of, I think it's just a case of people think we just build this POI and then that's it, it's gone. And then, you know, somebody will do it who's a newbie or a high end player, and that's it. We don't look at it again. And that's not the case at all. And it would be really good if these people actually gave us feedback.
Yeah.
on
I mean,
it. So
I got to
you
tell
know,
you, getting
You might be
feed-
asking a little much for getting feedback from like novice players and
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
No,
or
no,
any player
absolutely.
from
we get that.
you know anybody who's
I know.
not a content creator.
I know, and we understand that.
Yeah.
We were just saying it would be good if we could get that kind of feedback. But you know,
But getting that feedback is incredible. I mean, you know, I'm kind of what I would consider like an independent prefabber. I'm not part of CP. I don't mine don't go in there. So I'm kind of on my own as far as getting that kind of feedback. And when GNS did one of his monthly like mod pack videos, he actually featured my pack, and I was like, oh my god. It's like, even though he didn't actually go through the POIs, it's like he just kind of had these little screenshots. That was incredible, because I'm kind of out here on my own, just trying to get people to play my POIs. And that increased my my downloads by double.
Oh yeah.
Just from
I
that.
mean, the bad player I think manages GNS's
Mhm.
servers.
And I see him on here too.
We can
He
blame
is.
him.
He's on.
I do. Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Bad Player.
hello,
Yep,
back
he-
there.
Damn it. No, that I'm doing something else, and I just broke a 3D print.
Great timing.
So
Whoops.
Damn it,
super glue.
Bad Player's on here.
Ah!
Yeah, it's basically what happened. I'm trying to get the stuff off the build plate.
But I know
So, yeah.
when when GNS was also doing the CP back in when Alpha 20 was out, and he was going through Zeebarks. I mean, Zeebarks was he was saying Zeebark's name like every episode. It was like, God damn it.
I know. He must have got sick and tired of the name by now.
Damn it, Zeebark.
That's what
Oh,
they say. No press is bad press.
Exactly, yeah.
Just to let everybody know, Mike is not only a POI builder, he also does he sort of touched on it, I guess, but he also does a lot of custom blocks. I mean, a lot of custom blocks. And incidentally, for those who don't know, for the CP, that we have the CVP or the custom block.
Not yet. Dude,
Sorry,
you're releasing information I haven't released yet.
What?
Don't release stuff that hasn't been released yet.
Oh, anyway,
Is
yeah.
Battle Poppy like your Tom Harding of the Avengers?
What?
Tom, who?
Is it Tom Harding?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
No,
Bane?
no.
So yeah,
I don't
good,
watch a lot of movies, so you
all
might
I
have to.
was going to say is good stuff to come. There you go.
I can't wait. Can't wait for TFP to fix these problems.
Oh yes.
So
Well,
that
just so
we
you know,
can
I found a
actually,
third RWG bug yesterday.
Oh no.
Dude, stop looking.
just so that we
I'm
can
not
release
looking.
TP49. Can't wait for it to be released. It's been a long
Me
time
neither.
now.
Yeah, for those of you that aren't aware, there's like a bug with the tiles. At least is the one that's also holding myself up, because I've done if you're familiar with the Swampland mod, it's basically a set of tiles that I've made as water, and of course CP has a lot of custom tiles, city tiles, because of all the different POIs they have, different kind of cities and whatnot. But there's a bug with being able to tag the POI spawn markers, basically, that are on the tiles, where you can't kind of really do custom tiles the way we used to be able to do in Alpha 20. And that's been, I don't know, that's been a bug since day one, basically. So none of us have been able to kind of put out these updates, and that's really what's, at least as far as I know, the kind of one of the main ones that's been holding up CP.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah. Metropolis is which is Mega City, but I changed it because I thought my tags were wrong, so I changed the whole fucking city. The residential and city rural tiles, they're just no POIs on them. Well, there's probably about 5 POIs on them, so it's all empty. So And the other bug that I found the other day was to do with the city planning, not the city planning, the highway code that comes up. So
yeah, one of the bugs that I've come across, and I think Stein has also come across, it's not a a GameStop or anything like that, but it's very annoying if you have a very large wilderness POI. The highways and roads can cut right through the middle of your POIs.
Ooh.
So like my temple trader, I had asphalt going all the way up the side of the mountain, over the top and down the other side.
Over the hill and far away. Yeah, no, there's 2 RWT bugs there as well. On top of that one, there's the anything over 200 by 200, you're going to get a little POI spawn inside it. And we've had that bug before. But also, the other one is anything over 200 by 200, the east side of the POI will disappear. And you'll only see the imposter. It's always the east side of the POI. That one was an easy fix. I just removed all the POIs that are bigger than 200 by 200 that I couldn't reduce.
Yeah. A lot of work goes into the CP. I don't think people realise how much work actually goes into it.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about, balance and stuff like that and the risk versus reward. And that's one thing that CP has spent a lot of time trying to work. Everybody complains about the balance, the loop balance and all that sort of stuff. And you can't, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just mumbling in the background.
Oh, that's, probably one of the biggest complaints you hear from people with any custom POI, not just CP, it's just any custom POI, is the balance, the loop balance and all that sort of stuff. And it's tough because there's really no written guidance from TFP as far as how they do it. And for pretty much everyone, the custom POIs tend to be more difficult than the vanilla ones. That's just kind of how people like to make things, and it's kind of a standard. If it's custom, it's probably going to be a lot harder than a TFP, vanilla POI. But kind of trying to build that very fine line on reward versus risk, it's tough. It's really hard because, again, you can have a POI that has 100 zombies, and they can either come at you all at once, which makes it a really tough POI, or you can have them paced out where you're only coming across a handful here and there. That's a much easier POI. So the amount that you've expended as far as your own resources as a player, be it ammunition, food, whatever, is going to be different depending on how that POI actually plays in game. You can have a standard. It's like X number of zombies is going to be a tier X or tier Y. That's all fine and dandy, just kind of have a standard, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the difficulty of the POI itself, because the POI is its own character, I guess you could call it. It's part of the play. It's not just the zombies, it's how difficult the physical location you're at is in trying to get through it. You could have a pit that's 10 blocks deep and have 50 zombies in there and call that a tier 3 POI. It's just a pit. But if you have a maze that has different doors that are opening and closing as you walk through it, that has the same 50 sleepers in there, that's a totally different POI. It's more difficult. So kind of getting that balance is really, really tough. And then when you throw in all of the different overhaul mods that overwrite a lot of what you do as a POI builder, that's a whole nother ball game. You can have, I was actually having an overhaul mod. They were evaluating some of my POIs to be included in there. And the mod developer basically told his people's like, okay, I want you to test these, but I want you to understand that these are not built for this overhaul mod. It's built for vanilla. So if the mod, the overhaul mod allows workbenches, damaged workbenches to actually be repaired, that's considered a totally different asset or reward that you can get from a POI than what you would get from a vanilla POI. So that balance, we all try to basically say we design for vanilla because that's the vast majority of players. But we also kind of have to keep in mind that if this gets included into an overhaul mod, there might be a lot of things that are just that blows this POI totally out of the water as far as the number of rewards and assets you get out of it. I'm sorry, that was my rant.
Cardboard boxes in vanilla, the box pellets.
Yeah,
a lot of the overhauls make them lootable and pick upable, and a couple of them. But it's the prefabs that they use that are overlooted, not the overhaul changing what's in them.
So, Zeebark, Mike, do you ever feel unappreciated?
Yes.
By you all the time.
Well, with good reason. However, because we know that, I can tell you from personal experience, when testing them, that a lot, some of the, Zeebark and Mike and some of the other POI builders, the amount of time they take placing a loot bag or a piece of rubbish on the floor to make the place look more realistic. And then people just blow past it like it wasn't even, they didn't even
or
see
they
it.
get a rocket launcher and just blow the thing up.
Just blow it up. Yeah.
You can't. You don't know anybody who does that.
No.
I think sometimes when you put so much work into these POIs, I'll be at work all day and then I'll come home and I've got to get this POI done. Not very often, because by the time I get home from work, I don't want to. But you put so much work in it, and people just blaze through, and don't. I'm not going. They've got to go. Oh, the Zeebark POI. Oh. I don't mean that at all. I mean, just go in and just
take a look around.
Just take a moment to look around, and we do try our best to make them as good as we can. Now, when 21 dropped, A21, people are going around going, "Oh my God, these TFP POIs! Oh, this is amazing! This is fantastic." They have teams of people working on their POIs. We have one person working on ours, and that's the difference. That pass the POI and they'll all add a little bit on and make it. That they're amazing POIs. Don't get me wrong; they are fantastic builders. But just show a little bit more appreciation. And I'm not just talking about me and Mike. For all of the people who take their time to make these POIs to put in the game to make your game more exciting. Because when TFPs, new POIs lose, or like you have seen these 50 million times now. Where's CP? Just show it a little bit of love.
Yeah, I think that very good point in that. Eventually, TFP's actually going to finish the game.
Yeah.
And actually, we can all dream. And as far as new POIs coming out, that's from TFP that's basically going to end. It's going to end. So it's going to be all of the fans out there and the the prefabbers out there that enjoy this game enough where they'd like to keep it alive. This is where you're going to get your fresh meat from. Is from custom POIs. You're not going to see it from TFP anymore. And I think it's kind of hard to say what you think is going to happen. With 7 days once TFP actually finishes it. I'm of the opinion that having not finished it has kept it alive much stronger than it would if it had been finished 5 years ago. And I think that their initial thought, coming from a group of modders themselves and developing a game that is modder friendly will keep this game going for quite a long time. But it won't be them involved with it. It'll be all of the modders. It's going to be Kane out there doing Darkness Falls, or Piper Mac and all these other overhaul modders that come up with some crazy idea to basically just use the engine and make their own game out of it. To me, that's really cool because you're basically recycling the game. You're repurposing it.
And we'll still be sitting there building POIs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If I could ask another question, which is your favorite non-personal POI? Out of all the POIs that you've seen, which one have you thought to yourself, wow, that is special?
Too many.
Mm.
There's that. I mean, I'm not that creative a builder.
Good.
I'm not compared to a lot of the POI builders out there. My creativity is like meh. I just like building.
It's more than meh. It's meh.
Okay. You're very creative, Mike. I haven't got Mike's creativity, obviously, but Mike hasn't got mine. So I've kind of learned over time that they're my POIs. I build them, so stop comparing to other people's.
Mm-hmm.
But there are that many good POI builders out there. I honestly couldn't. I haven't even seen all of the CP49.
Yeah.
Either, so.
I mean, there's been a couple of the CP ones that I just watched in video, not the CP, but the vanilla ones that I've watched just in regular vanilla playthroughs. Is like, and they're new to Alpha 21. I was like, oh my god, this was really good.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't remember. It was like a it's sort of like the Waterworks, but a new version where they had generators and all these different rooms. Is like, and it's such a small. It's like a power company or something like that. It was like, that was a really well done and well planned out POI.
What was the one you were testing? Battle.
I was testing. Battle.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can't say. Stallion might shout at me.
No, I know, but there was one that Battle was testing the other night.
Well, I'm going to say, because I don't care if he shouts at me. It's called it's called Yellowstone. Is it Fort Yellowstone or something like that? I can't remember what it's called.
Just excellent.
It was, honestly.
It was absolutely outstanding. I just want to add to this that Battle Pappy does POIs, and he's a really good builder as well. Excellent builder. Best
no, absolutely not.
In my opinion. But yeah.
He doesn't do enough of them, though.
He doesn't do enough of them now.
My claim to fame, when Gewoodle went through Thor's hammer.
Oh, Thor's hammer.
The Thor thumb. Yeah,
that was Dave. That was Battles. Yeah.
And then he left it. He abandoned it.
I did not. I updated it.
No, Gewoodle abandoned it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I couldn't say which is my favourite POI because there are that many excellent ones.
Okay, fair enough.
Out of mine, I'd say it's in CP49. It's a tier 1, and I spent on a tier 1 so much time on it. It was unbelievable. Can't tell you how many times I changed the paint, the inside, the outside, the paint, the inside, the outside, the paint, and I was like, "Stop it now! Just stop it! Build it and get it."
Got 10 layers of paint on here. We got to scrape off.
Oh yeah, God, it was horrendous. That old wood chip. But yeah, I honestly couldn't put my finger on one particular POI because some of the builders out there just amazing.
Yeah, we all have our different styles and different quirks and whatnot, and yeah, you just can't. It's apples or oranges. We all kind of have our little niches that we've kind of fallen into.
You can't help but compare at times because you'll see this amazing POI and you're like, why can't I think of ideas like that? Why can't I build stuff like that? And you have to I do. I've had to learn to reel it in and go, well, because you build your POI, so stop comparing. That is one thing because there's obviously way better builders out there than me. So
yeah, I mean, I've found myself comparing myself to like ZZ Tong, and it's like, this guy's an incredible POI builder. He's very prolific, and it's like I can't compare myself to the same because he does. I would say he kind of does the POIs that one would expect as normal in 7 days, and my style is totally different. And so you just can't compare yourself to anybody else.
No.
The big one that I get is everyone compares themselves to vitamin E, and I'm like,
Oh,
don't.
vitamin E is
Oh,
just
wow.
amazing.
Lord, yeah.
Out of
There's
this world.
no
You build
comparison.
you build your own build style, and
Yeah.
it'll be a good POI still because it's your POI.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know, like, but don't try and compare yourself to vitamin E. Like he's
No,
in his
I
class
wouldn't.
of his own.
Yeah.
Not a vitamin E.
But that doesn't mean everyone else is a bad prefabber. That just means he's in that. That's how he builds,
Okay.
and
He's
that's
got
his
his own
style.
niche.
He's
Yeah.
elite.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like this one guy just
What?
keeps going. I'm like, dude,
Elite.
stop. You're just gonna because he suffers he stressed out a bit. So I'm like, dude, stop comparing to vitamin E. You
Yeah.
build good POIs. So
I think at the end of the day, though, if you get somebody doing your POI and they enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a challenge, whereas it's not too much of a challenge, so they go, do you know what? I've died 3 times in there now, and I'm not going back. That's it.
Yeah.
That's your worst nightmare. That's not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody enjoys it and they live and they walk out at the end, they go, that was quite a good POI.
And they
That's
live? Wait a minute. You're doing it wrong then.
I know what's wrong with me. That's what you want, for
Mhm.
someone to walk away from it and go, oh, that was good work. That went in there. It doesn't have to be all, ooh, this person, that person, wherever it might be. Having someone really enjoy your POIs
Yeah.
because of the amount of time and work you put into them is great.
Speaking of
Whether
time and
that's a
work,
content player or not.
for example, Z, how long did it take you to make Damocles?
Oh, months. I started that in
Bella, you
January?
took
What
That
time?
actually, Damocles only came about because I've got another temple. The black one. I think you've seen it, TK, Stallion, and that. It was
Yep.
another temple I was working on, and I was actually having a walk in my lunch, and I was thinking of, because that's more like a puzzle temple. You have to do a number of different things to done. I doubt it's ever going to get finished, and I was thinking of the big where you first walk in, how I was going to call it Panther. I was thinking how I can make a big panther head, and somehow I got onto swords. Don't ask me how I got onto a sword from a panther head. I don't know, and I thought, oh, sword. Oh, hang on, Damocles sword. That would be good because basically you've got Damocles swords hanging over you for any POI you go into. Because shit's going to hit the fan and it could either go good or bad. So, oh, hang on a minute, that'd be a good idea. So you walk into this POI, you do this, you do that, this happens. Oh, okay, I'll build that. I'll build it. That was it. That was Damocles born in about the space of 20 seconds. So the other POIs just being forgotten about now.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
Remind me, guys, not to build another temple 5 minutes later.
I never said that.
I'm building another temple.
I'm not doing another temple, damn it.
Yeah, that was after Temple of the Warriors, wasn't it? I can't tell you how long that took me to build. But yeah, it was January, I think I started that one. But then there was all the filling in bits with the stables and then that had a moat around it, didn't it? It had 2 moats which had been removed, put back, removed. Can't tell you how many times I've changed it, and it just add 1 more room. It's like Zeebark, just step away from the POI. But let me just do this 1 more room. That's when you don't listen to the voices in your head.
Yeah, that's the trap you get into because
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's just like regular construction. If you're building a house,
Yeah, but just tweak this.
the last 10% of it will take the most time because it's all the really detailed stuff, the trim and the drywall and the painting and the cabinetry and all that sort of stuff. And I could easily knock out a POI, the basic outlines in a day, no problem.
I've done a tier 1 POI in a day.
Yeah.
Completed it.
But then you start getting into, okay, I want this piece of trash facing this direction. And you're literally flying through your POI, looking at it from every single angle, trying to find the best placement. I do that all the time. It's like everybody has different ways of looking at stuff.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Because I'm very, again, kind of very interested in architecture. I'm also I've been playing with 3D stuff for decades, since the DOS days. So when I look at stuff in a 3D world, I'm almost always trying to set it up as a movie set. I want every angle to have some sort of visual impact. Somebody made a comment just recently on one of my POIs. What did he say? Is like, I love the way you do environmental storytelling. And that I never really thought of it that way, but that's really kind of what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to my first mission, I guess, in building a POI is to create a wow factor. When somebody steps into my POI, I want them to sort of like going, "Oh my God, what the hell?" I mean, I want them to have that kind of pause, because it's just something that's totally out of their experience or what they were expecting. Because that's I want to draw people in. It's that little, the candy in the white van on the street that says free puppies on it. I want to draw people in, because we want people to play these POIs. I mean, it's that's kind of what we do it for. We can build it for ourselves, but I already know the POI, so I can play it as many times as I want. I want to see other people enjoy it. So I want to kind of create that wow factor visually, and that's kind of what we have within the game, is that visual impact. We don't, if you look at somebody that's making a movie, they have all kinds of things that will make a movie great. The camera motions and the lighting and the set directions and the actors themselves. It's and the movie score. As a POI builder, we kind of really only have one or two things. We have the visual, and then we have the kind of the puzzle itself, going through it and finding all the zombies. So that visual impact to me is the most important part of building a POI. It's you got to draw somebody in. You probably watch enough of these, the video streamers. They get to a certain stage, they're not doing quests anymore. They're just walking and running around, driving around, looking for something to loot. I want them to loot my POI.
Mike,
that's what I'm here for.
Do you remember the fun we had doing the jump in the crescent?
The what in the crescent?
The leap of faith.
Oh yeah.
Remember the fun we had coming up?
Mm-hmm. And that's even got so there are a couple of overhauls that included my pack into them. The first one that started doing it was the Age of Oblivion by Piper Mac. Recently, I've had Collective Chaos include mine in theirs. It's not a big overhaul thing. It's kind of like, a whole bunch of different modlets that they've kind of grouped together. But the weird thing about these kind of overhaul mods is they get a lot of attention by the Asian audience. So when I'm looking to see, because I want to see people playing my POIs, I want to see how they're doing on them. the vast majority of people that are playing my POIs are Japanese or Malaysian or Thai, and I get to watch all these, and you have this sort of the GNS and the Genosis streamers of Japan playing these mods, and it's hilarious. It's even though I have no idea what they're saying, they're kind of like, some of these people are like the Jawoodle of Japan, where they're very expressive in their voice. And when they're going through my POIs, like for the swingers pad, which I had a bunch of bunny rabbits in the bed. And this guy goes in there, he's blah, 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 and he walks into the room and he just sort of stops, and they do the special effects of the crickets, and he's going, what the hell's going on here? That, to me, that's the sort of feedback that I love, because I don't understand what they're saying, but their just reaction of seeing what I've put in front of them just made it all worthwhile.
Very cool. We do have one more question that was from one of the folks in the community, and I want to make sure that we didn't overlook it. It was their question was from Spiked Coffee. Was what is the easiest way, if possible, to coop a POI build? They want to make something large, and they're worried that's going to take a very long time for them to build it.
I believe the word I was looking for was co-op.
Co-op.
Coop.
Okay, I'm like, what is this?
Huh?
Co-op. Hyphens are important, people.
That's something that I think a bunch of us have been wanting for a long time, is a multiplayer prefab editor. I think probably the only way to really, if they just want to build something and not actually be playing the game, I would say just create a world, just a regular map, turn off all the zombies, put on creative mode, go in multiplayer, and then just start building stuff. And then whoever owns that server, they should be able to copy it and paste that into an actual standalone prefab.
You can
do it.
Yeah, I'd go a step further.
You can, but it's hard to you can't see what the other person's doing. It's a lot of refreshing, and it's just I know.
Yeah, I'd go a step further if you're going to do the in-game aspect and just create a completely flat and empty map.
Yeah,
no zombies, no terrain, and then you can build whatever you want using the creative tools. So if you want something on top of a mountain, or you want to try and make a waterfall and the White City from Lord of the Rings, this way you have total control over it. It's just a flat map.
Yeah. Although having a little bit of variance in terrain is nice. I've done some POIs where, as opposed to just creating the terrain in the prefab editor, I'd find a nice area that had some interesting slopes and bumps and terrain features in it, and then just copy and paste that out. But yeah, having a flat terrain is obviously the easiest way to do it, because everything is nice and aligned and whatnot. But yeah, as far as doing a multiplayer type prefab thingy, I do wish that they had a multiplayer prefab editor. I could almost even see a desire for TFP to actually kind of do a standalone program that is just a prefab editor, as opposed to having it totally integrated inside the game. Because a lot of the time that you do as a prefab editor, because you're testing it over and over and over again,
and
generating new worlds and generating new maps. to be able to do stuff a lot faster as a prefab editor would be huge.
Yeah.
And just to touch on what Mike said before, that you can put together the main structure really quick, but the details, they are everything. They take a
Oh my
long
god,
time.
they take so long. Yeah.
I will
do.
literally sit there with a pile of trash and work out the best rotation in this particular corner that looks the best.
Can I just add that I don't? I just go and eat trash.
You just slop them down.
There you go.
Well, another mod that I've done just for myself is a random rotation for a lot of the kind of blocks that you use as decor, be they trash or bodies or whatever. Because I do like to decorate my stuff with trash, but trying to rotate them all so they look random is a pain in the butt.
It is.
So I just added the random rotation tag to a custom block, and it makes it so much easier.
So we're getting pretty much to the end because it's 1:30 now in the east. Do you guys have any tips or tricks or recommendations using the prefab editor or just in general when doing prefabs?
Start small. Start small. Do a little tier 1. Learn the editor, and then you have to learn how to actually turn it into a POI, because it's okay building something, but actually turning it into a functioning POI with all the XML and everything. You got to learn what all the loot is, everything like that. Start small, learn the editor, learn the XML. Don't just go, running in and going, I want to build a 15,000 foot skyscraper with 20 million zombies in it, because after you've done floor 1, you'll be like,
So what you're saying
That's
is don't be
advice.
stallions then.
No,
Basically, yes.
You can be stallions down with a tier 1. Just learn how to do it first.
Because he
That's
still
all.
hasn't.
Oh, Michael.
We went there.
That's
things.
the best advice I could give anybody is that's the way to do it. My very first POI was a little tier 1 chippy, and I think Stallion was just pulling his hair out with me, because learning to put everything together and where to place the zombies. You've got to think about where you're placing your zombies, because you don't want someone to walk up to a window and shoot every one of them and then just walk into the room.
Pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn about it. A lot.
2 things. 1, Stallion's Den is the mustache twirling villain of the POI world. He creates the most dangerous POIs you've ever seen in your life. And 2, join the CP channel, guys. It's friendly, it's helpful, and Stallion is just a boss guy. He will help you with any question you've got.
Now, make sure to include the link in the description on the YouTube.
You don't even have to contribute to the CP if you want prefab help.
Yeah.
I'll still help you.
All right. So as the last question before we end this, this is open to anybody that's currently here. What is your favorite POI of all time, whether it's vanilla or a custom one? I'm going to start. There was one, I think, Alpha 15 or 16, McDougal's from Coming to America. Or McDowell's, sorry, McDowell's. I might have been called McDougal's as the POI, but it was like a combination between McDonald's and McDowell's, or McDougal's from...
Yep, Lazarman's McDowell's, yep.
Yep, that was my favorite so far.
Yep, she got an upgrade this alpha. Lazarman wanted all these prefabs updated, so I did.
Does anybody else have any favorites?
Can you just make the mention that Stallion? Are we permitted to say how many POIs there are about?
No.
Oh.
I don't, until we
There's only 5.
WD Bugs.
Under penalty
CP
of
only has
castration.
5 POIs.
Again.
I think I started playing, I think it was early alpha 18. For me, I think it's just nostalgic. It's the farmhouse in Never's game. As rinky-dink as it is, that was the first house I turned into a base.
Been there for that.
So, yeah, it's just nostalgic. So that's mine.
I'm trying to think.
My favorite one is one that I'm currently working on, the deep dive, which I'm not telling you more about. So yeah, I know you said not your own, but yeah, that's mine.
That's that other guy named Battle Poppy that
That's the one,
looks
yeah.
just like me.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the one done by Battle Mummy.
Yes.
Incidentally, Battle Mammy is my wife, so yeah.
And she does actually have that account, although I don't think I've ever
Mhm.
seen her online.
I've never seen her.
I'm not sure she actually exists.
I have my
She
doubts.
does.
She was
She
ordered
does.
from Japan. Cost about 50 grand.
Well, no.
Anybody else?
It's hard to call anyone a favorite. There are some that I really enjoyed, but I don't enjoy anymore because they've changed.
Okay, so what about when you first played? Was there a POI that kind of like wowed you the first time, or like, man, this is impressive, or this really no?
I really liked the Spiral library from the combo pack.
So I'm hearing someone needs to make the Great Library of Alexandria. Got it. Not me, because I'm not that skilled.
No, I thought the Spiral library was a really good POI. I really enjoyed it. I don't enjoy it anymore.
You can't clear it day one.
Yeah. Well, you can't clear it as a tier 4. It's, yeah. Yeah.
Plus, it keeps falling down.
No, because you keep using grenades, like rocket launchers. Any gun weapon he thinks is in the game is that rocket launcher.
All right.
It's
Anybody
doing
else
outside
with
check.
any favorites?
It's too many. I like all prefabs.
There's some amazing ones in there.
Actually, I hate Destroy, but I still go through.
Well,
All right.
guys, you wait until I see what's coming. Honestly, I kid you not.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to, what is it, Compo Pack 49? Is that what we're up to?
Yes.
One
So
day.
that'll be out in the next 100 years or so, probably before TFP
98
hits
and
7
a
days
half.
gold.
98 and a half.
I can say it'll be out before 7 Days to Die hits gold. I'm confident in
Maybe.
that.
Hopefully.
So, with that, that'll be the October's brain drain. Probably. Oh, are there any spooky POIs? Given it's October and Halloween is about a week away, or 9 days.
Spooky.
There's a handful in the CP. Zeebark
Well,
got one.
You won't talk about them, so it's not fair to mention those.
Yeah.
Oh no, they haunted, scary haunted Halloween
We can
houses
talk about
is
it,
the
but
CP48 one, so that's actually
Yeah.
in the game.
That one could be.
But it has been updated, so.
Okay.
As soon as you walk in the front door, the whole thing explodes. That's how spooky it is.
Oh, it sounds like it's definitely one of yours.
No, it's Zeebark.
No, but you open it and it explodes. That's definitely, that's a Stallion's Den special. And then you get swarmed by the zombies after you take the explosion damage if you live.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extra punishment for stepping on that block.
I think it may be worth adding that some people may see some of the POIs as unnecessarily big, but remember, a lot of these built with teams in mind for server use, because Stallion's going to castrate me, but some of them are
because the game is made for co-op. There, now you can stop before you get castrated.
Thank you, sir.
I look forward to castrating. Spoil my fun.
I heard you were once that you used to work as a moil because you worked for tips.
Ooh.
And we
Oh.
are going to end there. So we will see everybody hopefully next month in November. And until then, join the Compo Pack Discord to learn how to build POIs the most best and awesomest way. And you can get all your up-to-date information on Compo Pack 49 and when it may or may not release and what is allowed to not be talked about. But until the next show, everyone have a great and spooky Halloween.